In her first year as mayor of Toronto, we've already seen Olivia Chow negotiate new deals when it comes to funding, as well as a different approach to getting housing built. Still, though, some limited affordable units available at this point. We'll talk about that. We have a growing refugee crisis, aging infrastructure, and then there's transit. We'll talk about that as well. The mayor has her work cut out for her over the next little while. So joining me now in studio, Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Hello.
And welcome to the new set. This is your first time with us here.
It's looking good.
It is looking good, absolutely. I wanted to sit down with you because, number one, this is my first time chatting with you in your time as mayor, 10 months in. And so I'm curious to see just a pulse check with you. 10 months as you were going to inherit this city, all of the greatness, but also some of the problems that come with it. How would you describe what you inherited versus where we are today?
Oh, that's a very good question. I walked in with a $1.8 billion budget shortfall. So A, you don't have much money. B, is that the TTC fare just went up, service got cut. And lots of people sleeping on the street as the refugees were pouring into the city, and we literally have no place to put them.
Right.
And all the city services, whether it's Parks and Recreation, Community Center, potholes, everything looks scruffy and not quite right. So a bit of a city in decline. So that's where I came in.
Right.
Now.
And now, where are we 10 months later under your leadership, would you say?
Well, no more fare increase. TTC kept it, and we are investing on TTC. We've hired 160 more workers to eyes and ears inside the station, in the subway and streetcars, just to give people a sense of safety. And we have, we just opened up all the washrooms in parks.
Yes.
And we have new litter bin. Hopefully it'll work a little bit better. We are saying we need to clean the city. We have to open up the Cafe TO. Remember last year?
I remember
It was a bit
very
of a
well,
problem.
yes.
Yeah, we need to get people licenses a lot faster because it's going to get warm out there, and build a lot more housing. So that's so all of those things we're working on, and both the federal and the provincial government have partnered with the city to say, yes, let's do this together.
Okay, so you mentioned a laundry list of items, and I think it is fair to say what got into your hands, there was a state of disrepair when it came to the city with a lot of different items. I think it's understandable, it's unfair to be able to tackle all of them at once. I know you're doing your best in the last 10 months, but let's get through some of those items that you described. Let's begin with just getting around the city. When we have the Gardiner shut down, a portion of the Gardiner shut down in both directions for years. And then, you know, I can testament a lot of staff that live within the city do take the Gardiner into and out of the city. They go to the detours, and then the detours are shut down
too, yeah.
And then compounded by if transit is not running. There is an absolute mess to get in and around the city, whether you live here or you live out of the city. How can we combat this? Because it just feels like we are in gridlock, permanent gridlock.
You're right, it is a serious problem. We're losing a lot of money on productivity because of the congestion. The Gardiner has to be fixed. There's nothing you can do about it. What I can do is trying to make it faster. So instead of 3 years, let's do the construction faster. And we're looking at having construction 24/7 so that there are more shifts and it can move along faster.
Is that at a higher cost?
It will be higher cost, but we need to, because the cost of congestion is also serious, right? The other problem is that Ontario line, those subways are being built. We don't have much control over it because it's our Ontario government, Metrolinx are building it, and we just need to coordinate it a lot better. We need to have the AI so the traffic lights works better. And recently we hired 40 traffic agents. So they're directing traffic on King Street, which means that there are fewer cars blocking the box, right? Those are infuriating. Plus the streetcar that's on King Street is now 3 times faster because you have these traffic agents directing traffic.
Sure.
So we're going to do more of that.
Now, this would assume, though, that it sounds great if all of these things were in line, if the AI was in place, if if everyone was obeying the signals, if the gardeners sped up, and these are all hypothetical ifs, which would be great. The issue is, when I talk to coworkers here, that it takes double, triple the amount of time to get in now, and it will only stop during FIFA, which is another question for you.
2026, yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's enough happening. I want to go to transit, because then a lot of people say, well, no problem, then I'll take transit. And then we look at what's happening with the Crosstown LRT. That's been in construction for so long, and I know some of this is in the province's hands.
Absolutely not. Well, not some, all.
Yes.
Let's be all, because Crosstown is Metrolinx.
Yes.
And it's over budget over time. I don't have any control over it. I wish I could wave a magic wand and say, open up the Finch LRT, open up Ellington Crosstown. I can't do that. The subway construction, the Ontario line, I don't have control over it. The best I can do is work together with the province. But the province have been working with the city, so you notice that it has uploaded the Garner and the DVP, which then allowed us to have a bit more funding to paint the community center. All the smaller things, we now have a bit more money to take care of them. But in terms of the congestion, you're absolutely right. It takes a bit of time to coordinate the construction. It takes time to finish a contract and start another contract. So I came in midterm.
Right.
So I can only control some of the things, not everything in the city. But I'm always looking for better ideas, and transit is one good one. Now,
I would hope it's front and center. I think a lot of
yes,
people...
Yes, it is. But speaking about transit, the provincial government said, hey, we will put money in to help you run it better. And our Bloor line, the line 2, the subway cars are getting really old.
Oh, I've been on many of them.
I know,
yes,
I know.
They're very old, yes.
We need new ones. So the province said, here's $750 million.
Right.
City said, we will match it. We're waiting for the federal government to also match it. Then we can put the order in and have new cars.
But until then?
Until then, we will have to be...
sitting where we are.
Upgrading the system as much as we can.
Yes.
But not everything we want to do can be done. But consider this. I hope you've done your income tax. End of April,
The taxes are another story, yes.
Okay. But that's the federal government and the provincial government, nothing to do with the city. 9 cents of your tax dollar, every dollar you pay for tax, 9 cents come to the city through property tax, which is really, we don't have much of it. With Taylor Swift coming to town, everybody's like, wow.
Who's Taylor Swift? I'm kidding.
Yeah, you're not a Swiftie. You're not a Swiftie.
I'm kidding,
okay.
But that brings in what?
We don't. That brings nothing to the city. The GST and the hotels and all of that, the restaurants, it just costs us a lot of money because the police will have to do double duty.
Right.
And because we get no sales tax, we get nothing. What we can do is go to the feds and the province and say, please support us, ask for more. We have good partnership now building affordable housing.
Yes.
And building a lot of housing.
We'll go through that, absolutely.
Which is really important that we must do that.
It is. Well, while we're talking about property tax hikes, the biggest that we've seen since amalgamation, but does that guarantee no more cuts? Does that guarantee whatever we put in here will rebuild, will recover? That this will happen, and we're not going to see cuts across the board anymore.
No. You will not see TDC cuts. You will not see library being threatened to be cut down. We have the busiest library in the world. We have increased 10,000 hours of library being open on Saturdays. Some are now opening on Sundays. Weekends, why can't you use the library? It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So not only is there no more cuts, we are increasing the service. The fact that the washrooms are now open, normally open in May, because we have increased a bit more funding.
Right.
You will see new paints, new maps over at the ferry dock. So you're going to see a lot of revitalization.
I think we need that. So
I know we do.
I'll be honest with you. I've lived in the city of Toronto close to 20 years now. But if I'm being honest, it's getting harder and harder for me to say, I want to stay in Toronto because it is, you know, there's the congestion, which we talked about. There's the property tax. There is, it feels like it's no longer affordable for so many people that I have to convince myself and others to say, I want to live here, even though I know this is a great city, which I know you believe in as well. Let's talk about affordability in the city of Toronto. And again, a lot of people are going to the outskirts. They're saying, I can't do this.
But think about how long it takes for them to travel into the city.
Oh, well, I know that now. Yes.
But move back downtown.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with affordable housing. What projects are on the go? Because to your credit, you have made a number of different deals in that things are getting going. Nothing has started as of yet, but things are getting going.
Lots have started. A lot have started. One of the programs we started is actually purchasing buildings
yes.
that are not doing very well and keeping them affordable. Just think of a senior that lived in the same neighborhood for 30 years. They no longer would face evictions. They will no longer have to be totally anxious about not knowing where they're going to live.
Right.
They were able to live there and be comfortable forever. Rent would be affordable
Under
forever.
control. Sorry, grab a glass of water. Hopefully we've got that. Is density the key for the city of Toronto moving forward?
That's right. We are building at least 25,000 more units on top of what's being promised. You might have seen me doing with hard hats and all. Those are actually, we're starting to build.
Right.
There are some buildings that, because we retrofit, people are moving in. Okay, and the 25,000 units you are seeing, that we are actually starting to build them. The approval process is faster. We are building more of them that are affordable. We have brought in a team of people to help tenants so that the landlord would fix their buildings.
Yes.
And prevent illegal evictions. So we're keeping tenants safer and more secure and have better living conditions while we're building new ones.
Right.
So in fact, there's massive investment in that. Now, because of the interest rate being high, I have no control over it.
Absolutely,
It is more expensive to build. So some of the builders, even though we gave them all the permission, they say, well, not sure.
Yeah.
That we cannot control. Whatever we can control, we have said, okay, let's take all the city parking lots, let's build on it. So we're surveying all the spaces that the city have,
yes,
so that we could build on top of it and with a bit higher density. So all of that is occurring.
You talked a little bit earlier about waving this magic wand. Now I want you to take the crystal ball, if you can, and look into the future. So at your year mark as the mayor, where do you see the city? Because I get a little bit nervous with how we are viewed on a global scale. When they say the city of Toronto, what first thing that comes to mind? Will it be this, this, this? Where do you want the city of Toronto to be under your leadership? You know, tourism dollars are massive. People like the city of Toronto, but will they flock to the city of Toronto when they can't get around, or maybe it doesn't look like it should be as beautiful, or they can't live, there's nowhere to stay, it's too expensive? Where would you like to see it, looking in that crystal ball, Mayor Chow?
Affordable, so people like artists can continue to live here. Art is the soul of a city. We have a huge film industry, for example. TIFF, the International Film Festival, will be coming in September. It's huge. It's one of the biggest in North America. And we're a financial center. consider how successful we are. We are a beacon of hope globally. There's so many people that want to immigrate to Canada. They flock to Canada. We need to Toronto. We need to recognize how uniquely prosperous we are. Yes, we are. You know, the services are not the best, and it's. But do remember that. Think of the summer festival.
It's great in the city when things are
amazing.
running well. It's great. Yes.
That everybody coming on the street. Are people worried about the safety? No. And where else? I mean, I have friends in the U.S. They could wander downtown. Yes, occasionally there are problems. But if you're looking at the summer, the number of people on the street with their kids wandering, just enjoying each other's company, that's worthy of celebration. We are so diverse and really quite safe in comparing to many other major metropolis around the world.
Well, we are just scratching the surface here. Can you promise to come back here to City News 24/7?
Yes.
We would love to have these conversations with you.
We will have more conversation about how we can be a more caring city and a safer city.
Okay, Mayor Olivia Chow, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.